Hi, my name's Phil Parker and I'm a features writer for British Rowing Modelling magazine. I also write workbench columns for both the Hornby Collectors Club and TT Collectors Club magazines. But today I'm going to tell you a little bit about how Hornby got me started. Now this is my very first locomotive. Picture the scene. Back in the late 1970s, I come down and underneath the Christmas tree is my first train set. Now, it's not a proper train set in a box. This was a second-hand Triang 3F locomotive, and my dad had repainted it from the black that Triang supplied it, and he put it into a sort of dark purple with a gold-ish colour dome and boiler bands, because he thought I wouldn't like just a little black locomotive. And there were a few wagons and a brake van, and eventually this turned into a circular track in my bedroom. Now, I loved my train set. I'd run it for hours on end, and I really enjoyed it. And say this was my first locomotive. It was second-hand when I got it, but it didn't matter. I was proud of it, and the trains ran. A few years later, it was joined by my second locomotive. This would be a Hornby Ginty. Now, when this Ginty was bought, it was brand new. In fact, it was so new that at the time there was an offer and you got a free Pew & Co. coal wagon with the Ginty. And the Ginty arrived and joined my 3F, running round the track, shunting the sidings, stopping in the stations. And that's the way it went for a long while. But back in 1984, I joined the Leamington and Warwick Model Railway Society. And I'm in their club room today, although it's a rather grander club room than it was back then. A bit of a damp cellar at the time. And I went down and met other railway modellers. Now, these railway modellers were busy building things. They were doing exhibition layouts, they were building kit locomotives, and I looked at that and I thought, wow, that looks like fun. So I didn't have any kit-built locomotives. I didn't have a hope of being able to aspire to those. But what I did have was my original Triang 3F. And so my locomotive found itself repainted into this matte black livery, a bit of coal added in the tender, new transfers and numbers fitted, and there we have it. I was able to take a locomotive down to the club that I had worked on. Same thing happens with the Ginty. The Ginty gets a repaint, and I think this is resprayed using a Humbrol mini spray at the time, which were very small spray cans of really excellent paint. The locomotive was originally lined black, and I've repainted it to a plain black, which is more appropriate for Gintys, and it's even got a little extension on the coal bunker, and real coal in both of these locomotives. And that made me very proud indeed. I could go along and I could run my locomotives, admittedly up and down the test track, but they were locomotives that I'd worked on, locomotives I'd detailed and made a little bit better than the ready-to-run Origins, just like my new friends down at the Model Railway Club. Since then, these locomotives have been followed by many others, including quad loader kits that I'm very proud of, but this was the starting point. Without these, I'd probably never have got into model railways, and I wouldn't have the job I have now. However, there was one extra thing that Hornby did for me, and I put those to one side. You can see I haven't even screwed the top back properly on that locomotive. In the 1978 catalogue, there was, in the back, some building kits. Now, I think these building kits were bought in by Hornby from, I think, Pico, and they were retailed so you could build them to go on your layout. And the building kit that most interested me, if I can get the camera to see it, is this little bungalow down here. I don't know why it caught my imagination, but it did. I liked the look of that little bungalow, but my pocket money wouldn't stretch to the kit. Years later, my pocket money did stretch to the kit, and so I actually have the bungalow kit. Bought an original one and built it just for the fun of it. However, at the time, My pocket money didn't stretch the kit, but what I did have was quite a supply of cornflake packets and other cereal materials, and some glue and a knife and a little bit of imagination. And I built myself a cardboard model of this bungalow. I didn't have any plans, all I had was the photos in the catalogue to go on, but I built a model of this using cornflake packet cards, and I sat it on my model railway, and I was proud of it. And that was one of the things that got me being practical and actually building stuff for my model railway. And that grew and grew and grew, and gradually I was building my entire model railway myself, and now I do the same thing for model railway magazines, which is wonderful. But it all started with this building and a couple of old locos that I worked on. So, thank you very much, Hornby. You got me started and gave me the opportunity and got me interested enough to have a go at modelling. I'm hoping that you're doing the same for kids up and down the country right now, getting them involved, getting their hands dirty, doing something a bit practical and creative, and really enjoying themselves.